I would support it. Two parts there are.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the Cranford Chronicle. Advised on January 16, 2015. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger for a dominantly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board, filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, warning the public for time and place according to the provision of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mayor.
Okay, I know Mr. Gloria will be here this evening, so Mr. Donato,
Skipping right to me.
yes.
Take a look and see if I have anything important to tell you today.
I'll make something up, Bob.
No comment, please.
Now, the only thing I would mention is we do have the ordinance introducing the amended commuter parking for the Burger King lot. That's up for introduction tonight. And other than that, I don't think I have anything to report on that. You know what, one other thing I guess I'd mention, I do continue to work with the planner that Borough has retained with respect to affordable housing. We'll be conferring and talking about, I'll make a recommendation for you probably at the next meeting. I may file in court soon, or may wait for the next meeting to let you know before we're planning. I want to talk to the planner and explore that a little bit further, but we are, it's on our radar.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all, thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, can you explain the first resolution regarding color since you just brought up the house issue up?
Sure. Let's see, try to do this expeditiously. Have I told you before about I've told you about the Supreme Court decision on affordable housing and the fact that the Supreme Court expressed absolute frustration with the fact that COA had not adopted acceptable third-round rules and had been ordered to adopt the rules and then met and couldn't get a vote together to adopt new third-round rules. So the Supreme Court in March said that that's it. And basically from now on, until and unless either COA or the legislature does something, I guess to get the momentum back, the courts will be the place where affordable housing issues are resolved. So currently, what you do in order to there are different classes of municipalities depending upon whether you had a prior round approved and had a third round plan that was approved before those rules were invalidated, or whether you had a prior round plan approved but hadn't gotten approved by COA before the third round was evaluated. And then there were municipalities like Garwood, which did not have an approved plan. With respect to those that had an approved plan for either basically the second round or the third round, those municipalities are permitted to apply to the courts by way of a declaratory judgment to have the courts say that they have a plan which meets what the court requires. Unfortunately, and I know this is getting lengthy and into the weeds. But unfortunately, nobody knows at this point what the court does require, because the court hasn't told us what it requires, and what COA was requiring, the court rejected. So, in a sense, nobody really knows what's expected of them. But what we do know is that the municipalities that are seeking protection from builders' remedy lawsuits have to have a plan now which is approved by the courts. So in order to do that, you have to start with having a determination of what the municipalities need for affordable housing is, based on statewide figures, which are then whacked up according to a formula and go down to the county and the municipality. So that brings us to why we have this resolution on the agenda. In order to establish what the need is, you need an expert to say what the need is in terms of numbers. Is it 50, is it 100, is it 200? How many affordable units do you have to provide in order to meet what the courts require? So one of the interested parties in the Supreme Court litigation is the Fair Share Housing Center, and they have come up with numbers for each municipality in the state, which most municipalities regard as excessive, higher than the number which is truly required. This Dr. Burchell has been retained by a number of municipalities, and he was originally under contract through Rutgers with the state to give numbers, and since apparently has been released from that contract, it has now been retained to go so that he can contract with municipalities to come up with their fair share numbers, which I believe that the general consensus is, I know the general consensus is, are going to be much lower than the Fair Share Housing Center's numbers, which is going to lead to a municipality having a smaller requirement of the housing need which it is required to comply with. So, each municipality was given the opportunity to contract through the attorney for some of the municipalities that originally hired Dr. Burchell, to contract through the attorney with him to provide those, to really make a study and then provide those numbers to the municipalities. So what we're doing essentially is signing on with Dr. Burchell, and because of the fact that many municipalities are signing on, the number is way reduced from what it would be if you were to go out and get your own expert to decide what the statewide number is, and then again go through what it is for the county, what it is for the municipality. So we will be, for the sum of, the maximum sum, I should say, of $2,000, we are hiring this expert to give us his opinion of what the numbers are, so that when we have a plan and go to court, his numbers will be there for us to take to the court. And if we have to go through a trial, which I would anticipate that that's not going to happen with most municipalities, that he would be available as an expert witness, and we'd have to pay him for that, but he'd be sort of available on retainer. We wouldn't have to buy an expert. He's regarded as one of the foremost experts on this issue in the state, and to get him for $2,000 is really a bargain, and I would call it a no-brainer. So that's what that resolution is. Thank you. But you're sorry, yes, right?
No, it's very informative. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Anand? Mr. Goriello, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. I have no report. We did all that time, right?
Did you extend yourself to find out about the gas?
I had to call into Craig Berlin, but he hasn't got back yet.
That's the gas pipe on 3rd Ave, at 100 years old.
But when I spoke to him about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he told me it would be in late June, so I would expect within the next couple of weeks. So
Any questions for Mr. Goriello?
I have one, Mayor.
Yes.
Don, I
Hi.
believe you received this as well. The resolution that Springfield just passed about supporting a Senate bill to allow municipalities to undertake certain stream cleaning projects that include sediment removal. And I know that's something we've talked about with our brook. And it's my understanding that we can't remove any of the sediment because basically there's a law that
We have to
prevents
get
that.
permit, you have to go to the DEP to get a permit.
Okay, so this Senate bill seems like it would allow municipalities to do so without going through that process. I don't know, have you gotten a chance to read it?
I haven't read the bill, but I'll check it out.
Okay, because I would like to get your opinion on that and then see if it's something this council should possibly put up for a vote to see if we'll support it or not. Alright, thank you.
Anyone else? Municipal Clerk Christina Ariella.
Mayor, I sent you all a memo on June 19th to bond for the 2015 DOT road project, and the 2015 sidewalk repair replacement and tree removal program. So as you all know, I sent you a memo back in April on the DOT. And we got $30,000 from Union County for infrastructure, which we asked for $150. Don has finished investigating the sites, and we estimate that the project is going to cost about $100,000. So of that, you're getting 30 from the county, you have to bond the rest. It was all covered in my memo. One thing I didn't cover in there, and I'll just throw in, if you're interested, is, was an idea I got afterwards. The program requires the removal of many, many trees, and if you wanna utilize the open space grant to plant trees, I can include the match in this bond, and we can include the planting, not with this project, but, you know, along with this funding. I would go for a $2,500 grant, and a $2,500 match to plant trees in this program. That I didn't mention in my memo, it's an afterthought. Otherwise, you have my memo, and if you have a question or you can just give me direction.
Tina, I have a question on this.
Yes.
So, just so that I understand this to be true, that estimate of $100,000 would be to cover all the sidewalk complaints we've received over the past 4 or so years that have been on a wait list to get their sidewalks done, that have been lifted because of borough trees, right?
Yes, it's primarily based off a wait list. However, during, there are times where I notice one, or just in his walking, he's noticed one, or you've mentioned one. They're not necessarily from the homeowner, but they are a database that I've collected over the last 4 years, or since the last time we've done it. That's how I do it. I just keep complaints, and I start a database based on where I get them from. So, but they are primarily from the homeowner.
Okay. Because my initial inclination was, when we applied for $150,000, that we would have so many sidewalks to do that it could be upwards of maybe $200,000 worth of work. So now that I hear it's $100,000 worth of work, it kind of changes my opinion on it. Initially, I thought that we should maybe split it up over a couple of years, but now knowing it's a list that's been accumulating for 4 years, I'm more inclined to support taking care of it all this year in one shot. Even though the municipality would have to put in $70,000, which we wish was less, because if the county gave us more, it would be less, but that's okay. $30,000 is still better than nothing, for sure. And I still have that same opinion that I brought up at the last council meeting, to possibly hold back on applying for the Kids Recreation Trust Grant. I think I would rather see us spend the money on sidewalks to take care of this list that keeps growing, rather than recreation, if it's a either or situation. So that's my 2 cents.
And also too, you must remember, as Ms. Ariella said, that this money must be spent by December 31st of this year.
Any question, Mayor?
Yes.
Obviously, removing the trees is what, bothers me. Don, why are so many trees being proposed to be removed?
Well, I bet, there's 75 locations that have trees that need, not that need to be removed. There's 75 locations with sidewalks. Of those, about 2/3 have trees to be removed. And probably of the 2/3, half of the ones that are on that list, we did the sidewalks in the last 5 years. And they're back again.
All right, but
You-
is it a matter of trying to maintain that straight line of?
No, it has nothing to do with, it
Because,
has
you
nothing to do
know,
with
I always-
alignment, it has to do with grade.
Because I've always been a proponent of just,
Yeah, but
putting
no, I mean,
ellipse around the tree and staying away from it.
these sidewalks are lifted, and if you don't, sooner or later, if you don't take the tree down, you're gonna be doing it every time you replace a sidewalk, or have a sidewalk program. There's a lot of trees, there's 55 trees, and they're big, some of them are very big.
How many trees would get replaced by $5,000?
They're about $200 a tree. But I wouldn't be replacing the trees necessarily from where we removed them. I just plant them, I have people want trees, plant them in the park, wherever I can find a spot. I know, we did some road work and taking out some trees, so and I always write to the resident and ask them if they, if they don't want a tree. Some people don't want a tree, and I don't want to put it there because then they don't like it and they want to
Right.
have,
I think we have to look at our tree program a little different. I think we've got to start to plant the trees on the back side of the sidewalk. We have 2 to 3 feet on many streets between the sidewalk and the curb. You can't put a 30-inch oak in the 2.5-foot piece. We have 60-foot right, almost every street, with few exceptions, are 60 feet wide right-of-ways. They have 34-foot pavements in them, which means you have 13 feet from curb, 12 or 13 feet from curb to property line. And the sidewalks are at most 7 feet off. So that means you have a 6-foot band behind the sidewalk. So if you put the trees 5 feet behind the sidewalk, you're gonna double or almost triple the distance that they're from the sidewalks now. And you'd still be in a public right-of-way. And I think that's what we gotta look at doing. Instead of putting the trees back where we've been putting them for 100 years and looking at the same problem year after year. And then gradually, we could probably move the sidewalks closer to the curb, like instead of 3 feet, make it 2 feet, as you do road work. And that would give you even more room behind the sidewalk. But I mean, it's a continuing, ongoing, generating problem by itself. It just, it's perpetual. Unless you change it, it's gonna be the same situation. I mean, we're looking at some beautiful trees, but unless you take them down, you can't correct the sidewalk.
just a note. But when I plant now, I do get the help of Mr. Nearson, and I don't plant trees that,
But even at that, I mean,
in the borough.
there's no reason why we shouldn't utilize the entire 13 feet of right of way that we own. This borough would still be responsible to maintain the trees. They would just be behind the sidewalk, maybe 4 or 5 feet from the sidewalk, instead of in that little strip of land. I don't know if there's any shade tree, maybe Bill knows it, but I don't know of any shade tree that they recommend planting in a 2.5-foot strip.
Shade trees, no.
It just, maybe we ought to try it, because what we're doing right now, and every town is doing the same thing, what we're doing right now isn't working.
I agree with that.
What are you guys doing in Lakeville?
That's a
Doesn't
typical
matter.
line.
Doesn't matter. I think,
Now,
Mayor,
there are some-
I would recommend that we could discuss this all night. And if we can take this back to just this discussion in terms of what we do in the future, back to streets and roads, would be real good and have Don there. I mean, Councilwoman Tedisco and I know that this past year, we received complaints from people who live on East Street where the sidewalk was indeed placed right next to the curb. And what happened there was snowplow pushed all the snow right on their sidewalk. And then they had a 100-foot-long strip of snow that literally was 3 feet high.
Yeah, but that's
So
only one
you
block
gotta-
that did that, and the
I
reason
know that,
was
but I'm
the
saying we
yards are
gotta-
way up here, and,
I understand what I'm saying, with every decision there's ramifications, and so I don't want to get into the whole thing tonight. If we can discuss that, that is certainly a discussion we need to have. Because we can certainly, as the borough clerk has mentioned, just get away from shade trees. We don't plant oaks, we don't plant maples, we don't plant ash, we don't plant linden, you gotta plant cherries and hawthorn, and trees aren't gonna get that big, and that's something that we're gonna have to do.
Well, I agree with that. It doesn't really change the grant application, right? Or the bonding, I'm sorry.
Well, you would have to, I didn't include any money for that.
Amend the request.
I mean, I told you you should bond $390,
Right.
so, I'm saying another $2,500.
Right.
Just change it.
So it would be $392,500 to bond with $75,000 as the actual amount for the borough to pick up for the DOT road project,
No,
and then 70,
72,
but also 70 for sidewalks and trees, so that would be 72.5. So like 150
Yeah.
roughly. Would be from us, but that's still less than half
okay.
in terms of borough
72.50.
contribution. Not bad.
Yeah, if you want to do the trees, I do have people who want trees, and I do have places to plant
Mhm.
good hardy trees that won't do sidewalks and stuff.
5,000 would go to waste, obviously.
No, we need more trees in the park, we have some screening.
We need trees over many streets. I mean, we're getting $5,000 worth of trees from Westville Senior Citizen Housing for the damage that they did, so, yeah. So that will help.
We have to plant them?
We're working
We're
that
gonna
out.
decide where to plant them, or are they gonna do it?
We're not getting into that tonight either. So that'll help the north side around St. Anne's. But we certainly need trees in many streets. Don, you and I discussed the road contract this year does include the planting of trees, correct? For East Street in particular, you know, my opinion is sorely lacking in terms of trees, and I really would encourage us planting many trees throughout the borough.
All right, so Tina, what do you have in front of us now?
Just how much, I should try to prepare this bond for introduction to the next council meeting.
Sure.
And then I just want to mention one last thing. We discussed last council meeting canceling the second council meeting in July, but I'm gonna have to, I told you, I'd tell you if I didn't think that was a good idea, I'm gonna have to suggest that you don't do that, because I would need to adopt this bond so I can start this sidewalk project, because I gotta get that money spent. I know it's only 2 weeks, but
Okay.
in this kind of situation, it makes it.
We said that from day
If you
one.
want to cancel another one in August, you know, you can look at that in August. And Bob, I need 4 for a bond, because 2 people can't come to that council meeting.
Yes, you need a 2/3 vote for a bond.
Okay, so if one of you can't make the 27th meeting, we'll just cancel it, because that means they can't have the vote bond anyway.
Yeah, well, let's find it right now.
28, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
28.
Right, that was, who won't be here that day?
What is it?
I will not be at that second council meeting in July.
Okay, so, and Jim just raised his hand, so that's 3, so that means we can't.
No, I will be.
Oh, you will be,
The
Okay.
date of that meeting is
28th of July,
8th of July.
yeah.
But I'll be here.
I thought you said you couldn't come, that's what you said, you were going away.
I asked, and
He just asked.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
So we're still
if you
good.
guys want to consider another one, we can talk there about that.
And just the point of Council President's mention of the shade trees in the committee, please review that.
Sure.
And Donald, will you assist them, please? Thank you.
Just a point of clarification on the matching grant. I believe the only time we would not go for a matching grant would be, as Council President said, we may skip one here or there possibly. But if we do that, it's only to ease pressure on the budget, I believe, because they're all matching grants. If we gotta come up with dough, you know, it's pressure on the budget. We got the money, so, right? Yeah.
Anything else for Mr. L'Oreal?
I think he thinks of council president.
I think Councilman Visco said that, but
Oh.
that's
That's
okay.
I have no more right.
That's okay.
Unfinished business?
Council President, that's fine.
I just put on the agenda, we have to finish discussing the county open space grant.
Any comments at this point?
no, I think I agree with Councilman Martin. You know, at first I was a little perplexed as to why we would skip a year, but I understand that. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, if the county wants to give us money,
Yeah,
that's a different
but
story.
they're not doing
They're
that.
not
Yep.
standing there waving the money in front of us.
No, I
We have to be careful. And also, there might be other opportunities and other type of grant funding that we might pursue.
In the meeting, we made a decision on.
Any new
Okay,
business?
so-
I'm sorry.
I just want to get clarity, so we are skipping applying for the Recreation Trust Fund grant of 15, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Any new business, Councilman Hat? I'd just like to take a minute or two, I have a couple of various items to talk about. As you heard tonight, Garwood has received $30,000 in grant money from the Union County Infrastructure Municipal Aid Grant Program. Thanks go out to Councilwoman Tedesco and Councilman Martin for picking up the check. Thank you. This is now a total of $60,000 that's been extended to Garwood by the county this year. On Monday, June 15, 2015, I attended the Union County Transportation Master Planning Steering Advisory Committee, meeting for the purpose and goals to update the 2002 Transportation Master Plan, focus on integrating current transportation data that's available, addressing new and emerging trends in Union County as far as transportation. There will be 3 steering committee meetings and 2 public meetings. When the information is gathered all together and complete, we put together to write a new master plan for transportation. I have received calls from, you okay, sir? I'm sorry. Okay, that's okay. I have received calls from Congressman Leonard Lance and Senator Cory Booker, their aides, after our second letter written to them on behalf of the Garwood Post Office. I discussed the current issues and developments since our mailing of our mail through the Cranford office. They assured me that they will look into this matter and return with more information in the future. Senator Cory Booker's office assured me that the Guard Post Office is not relocating and it will be not shut down. This past Saturday, the Mayor's Saturday with Council Tedesco, was held and some residents came forward. We were talking about senior programming, snow preparation and removal, and the state of the postal delivery service in town. And I will continue Mayor's Saturdays through the summer. On a personal note, as the mayor, I performed my first wedding this past Saturday at Borough Hall, looking to do many more. Thank you. On a serious note, I'd like to inform the public that the Niagara Bottled Watering Company is recalling their water. And that's all for my report at this time. Thank you.
How was the wedding?
It took me a moment to shut the lights out. It was her second marriage and his 4th.
Oh, okay then.
Did you get a tip?
Yeah, don't do it again.
Wow.
Okay, we'll continue on. Comments or matters for discussion by the members of council. Councilman Warren.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Matthews.
Yes, Mayor, just has a question. Are we still on track for the borough emergency plan, having that in by next
We
week?
had a minor setback. The gentleman had an accident, but yes, we are. He's completing the proper paperwork and he has met with the county emergency management people, but I would have to say, maybe a week or 2 now, yes, in full force. So,
Okay, and just a clarification on the DPW matter, or are we going to be discussing, when are we going to be discussing that, when we come to the resolutions?
I have a report to read on that matter when I'm up to speak next.
Okay, so you're, that's, okay, all right. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Petroselli?
I mean, nothing really to discuss, but just to inform some people. A few weeks ago, we had a public service in town, and they were changing the decorative light fixtures that we have. And just so you know that we now have LED fixtures, so hopefully that'll help with the budget next year. For the line item. So, hopefully these things will last a while and it'll save the borough, quite a bit of money.
Thank you.
The replacement cost or usage cost?
Council, where were the new ones placed?
Right now, they're all brand new. Every one of them are brand new.
They didn't replace every single,
They replaced everything.
every single bulb is now LED.
Well, the entire fixture they replaced.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll help a lot next year.
Any further conversation on that? Now we'll move on. Councilwoman Tarantino.
Thank you, Mayor. As mentioned at our last council meeting, the Administrative Review Committee has been formed to explore and implement procedures that either produce or improve the efficiency of borough operations and departments. Discussions include shared services, arrangements with the Borough of Fanwood for certain management functions and other related matters in departments of public works. The shared service arrangements include use of each municipality's equipment, cooperative purchasing and contracting, management and administrative duties. The cost of shared services is for Garwood to pay Fanwood $40,000 per year for the use of equipment per year for the use of equipment for management and cooperative purchasing. To elaborate, the boroughs would share equipment including sewer jet, bucket truck, recycling center, portable compressor for sewer and street repair, and crack sealant machine. As was mentioned during the budget meeting, a capital item request has been made for a sewer jet, which cost about $55,000. Capital items are eliminated through sharing services, including the bucket truck and other equipment. Fanwood would benefit from the ability to use our trucks, sidewalk grinder, and asphalt hot box. Our borough's plan is to cooperatively bid for recycling, bulk, and other related materials and services. Bidding together gives us more buying power for better results. Our municipalities under the agreement would share management, in which the Director of Public Works for the Borough of Fanwood will serve as the Superintendent of Public Works for the Borough of Garwood, as defined in the Code of the Borough of Garwood. Also serve as recycling coordinator. The first month, the agreement calls for 15 hours per week and 10 hours per week thereafter for the superintendent. However, the superintendent is not restricted from working more than the minimum. The agreement also includes use of Fanwood's vehicles for the superintendent traveling between our municipalities. The shared service agreement will promote efficiency and economy, and it will satisfy the requirements of NJS 40A 915-4G6G, and cause the elimination of the need to employ a full-time superintendent of public works in the Borough of Garwood. The Garwood Code provides that the superintendent of public works shall serve at the pleasure of the council. I know talk of change can be challenging, but this agreement does not result in a decline in DPW services to Garwood's residents. In fact, it will enhance them without increasing cost. Residents are concerned with cost rising, and the committee wants to make the borough more efficient in order to provide residents with the services that they have come to expect at the best possible price. Governing bodies are elected by the citizens to manage the affairs of local government in their respective towns. This is not an easy or simple responsibility, and it is especially difficult when there is a great opportunity for the borough, but it includes the elimination of a position. However difficult, it is our job to find ways to reduce the burden on our citizens. This arrangement will save in equipment and other related costs and approximately $70,000 in wages and benefits. Therefore, it is with heavy heart I announce that the employment of Fred W. Corbett, Superintendent of Public Works, will be terminated upon passage of Resolution 15-218 on tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we'll move on. Councilwoman Tedesco?
Thank you, Mayor. I know it's been mentioned a couple times, but I attended the last meeting of the freeholders, which took place this past Thursday, as June was my month on the rotating calendar. Councilman Mike Martin joined me as well. Big highlight was obviously this check sitting right here, $30,000 for sidewalks, which also does require, of course, a match of municipal dollars. And just so everyone knows, I did a little comparison. Why not? In addition to Garwood receiving $30,000, Clark and Fanwood did as well. Berkeley Heights received $45,000, Cranford $55,000, Kenilworth $35,000, Mountainside $45,000. Larger towns such as Summit, Linden, Plainfield, and Union received $115,000. Elizabeth received the most at $150,000. So it does appear that they were awarded based on population of the municipalities, since there was $1.5 million up for grabs in total. The vast majority of the projects were awarded to repair roads and or sidewalks. There was some talk on Thursday night that made it appear anyway that it would be very likely for the county to continue to run this program annually. So we certainly hope they do that. And the only other item on the agenda pertaining specifically to Garwood that night was a resolution to acknowledge the retirement of Library Director Carol Lombardo. And then just one other item I had, Mayor, you mentioned Mayor Saturday, thank you for having me with you. Resident brought a couple of items to our attention, well, a few residents there, we had 3 in total. So the one about the post office, the one resident had that really good idea of approaching our congressman and senator to say that possibly with the carriers coming out of Cranford, instead of them always having Garwood delivered to last, maybe we could do some kind of rotating, schedule with Cranford that, you know, every other month or every few months, Garwood actually gets delivered in the morning rather than 5 or 6 at night. So I was wondering if you
Well,
shared
it's
that
not,
with them.
it's not part of my report, it happened about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay,
I was told to send the Booker's aid, and there's gonna be a 3-way conversation with the Toastmaster, myself, and the aide,
okay,
to talk about details like that.
okay.
So
That's
it
very
is-
good.
Thank
I
you.
have to say, you know, residents do have very good ideas, and
Yes.
that's an example of one certainly would never think of, but I'm glad they shared that with us, so we can take it
Thank you.
to the federal representatives.
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
No. They will,
I sent the secretary.
they will respond in writing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Council President Newstead.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 items. Tomorrow night's planning board meeting, they're going to memorialize the resolution recommending to Borough Council the designation of the Casal and the Petro properties in South Avenue as an area in need of redevelopment. I'm trying to jumpstart that a little bit. They obviously are going to forward that to us, and then if we were to agree with them and declare the area in need of redevelopment, the next step would actually be to hire a planner to prepare the redevelopment plan. So I wanted to ask my fellow council members if you would agree that tonight we can, and actually, I guess we can discuss this first too, but the bottom line is to direct the clerk to prepare whatever an RFP or whatever document we need to prepare, so that at the next meeting, when we actually adopt the resolution making that designation, and we're also able to put the RFP out to hire the planner to do that next step.
Any comments? Or any further explanation by Mr. Newstead?
You okay with, so Tina will have that? Okay.
Thank you.
And the next thing is just minor, so in the paper, actually, just the other day, that a property, one of the properties at the Point sold for $597,000. So I just want to indicate that Garwood remains a great place to live.
Do you know what it was originally purchased for?
No, I don't. I did think about that. I don't. They only listed the sale price in there.
Might be interesting to know that, so we just have an idea what the town appreciation and
Sure.
appreciation of it is like.
Sure.
Any further comments? Okay, we'll move forward. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, sign in, state your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Rodney Venata,
Mr.
31,
Renata, please
30.
sign in. Thank you.
Rodney Venata, 31 Third Avenue, Garwood, New Jersey. I'm a resident of this borough for 82 years. I'm the 3rd generation to grow up in Garwood. In regard to resolution 15-217, I would hope that the council would reject it. This man has done an outstanding job for the town. When we talk to the other towns surrounding us, when they come into Garwood in fall and in the winter, they're very pleased with the way the roads are taken care of, with the leaves, the snow plowing. I was OEM coordinator for 10 years. I worked very closely with Fred to get FEMA money for the town, and he's done an excellent job. I think he deserves to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renata.
Rich Bonfanti, 342nd Avenue. Just want to say the same thing. I've been in this town for 38 years. The DPW In those 38 years, I saw services drop because of budget money, garbage and other services. What this DPW does in this town is outstanding. The snow removal is outstanding, the leaf pickup is outstanding, the condition of the roads, the garbage, everything. And what looks good on paper, as far as budget money, doesn't always work. I've been in maintenance facilities a long time, and that was part of my job. What looks good on paper doesn't always look good in real life. Sharing services, especially with somebody that's that far away, is a hassle. So I hope this town rejects, the council rejects this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chamber call 119 Willow Avenue. I have a question of Mr. Mearstead, if you checked that tree out on the athletic field complex, they asked you to, that's behind my property.
I have not. I'm going to mislead you. No, I've not been able to yet.
We did. We checked.
I'm sorry, go about the tree?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, we've looked at it. We've asked the county to come out and trim that tree for you, and it'll be done early next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Second thing is dumpsters in the streets, on the roadways. What is the ordinance with this? We've had one on Willow Avenue, on the 100 block, all winter long. I don't know how that, seriously, when you're issuing summonses to residents who had cars on the street, and the dumpster's there during snowstorms, it is still there. It's a hazard with backing out a driveway. When I've gone around and seen people have them on their front lawn, and what is the ordinance with dumpsters?
2 weeks, and an additional 2 weeks, and Chief right behind you, and I'm sure he's making a note of that, right? Do you have an answer
The
for
gentleman
that?
finished his sons already.
There you go.
Okay, because of fact, there is a driveway, and there's been 2 cars parked there in the back. One, I think, looks as though it's not movable. And my other question was, because during the winter, why couldn't a dumpster been put in the driveway if the house was vacant? Because we're doing construction work.
They don't have to, I don't think, like, when you put it in their driveway.
But my question was, with the winter, with the snow, if other residents were getting summonses because they weren't getting cars off the street, did the owner of the dumpster get summons?
He just said he did.
You did, yes. Well, wait a second, your question had to do with snow, whether we
And
got
also-
summonses regarding snow.
And also, like-
Right, that's not what the chief just answered. Chief said he received the summons now. That's not snow.
And we received a summons for being over the limit with the dumpster in the street.
Yeah, so the answer to your question regarding snow is no.
Well, I don't know if that would answer.
Well, chief's right there. Was he issued a summons, chief, let's back up a little bit, because I have a question myself. I remember specifically asking for a time limitation be placed on the resolution, the council's, no,
It
no.
was 2 weeks and then they could extend it.
But there's no limit in terms of it being
There's
there.
no maximum.
They can get another 2 weeks, they get another 2 weeks, they could be,
Depending on the project.
exactly. So I don't want to mislead the residents. There is no 2-week limit. It could be out there for a long
But
time.
he has to apply for a
He
2-week
would keep
extension,
applying,
which he
but-
did not do.
And that's fine, but I don't, again, I want to let Gene know that if he applies, and he applies, and he applies.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There's no limit. There's no limit as to how long I fought to get a limit, and it did not pass.
Well, we also discussed that in construction projects to be
Right.
quite difficult.
I
But
understand
at
that.
the same point, I think the snow point is
But
something
you
that
also
we
have
may
a
need to look
driveway
at.
that no one's using, but you're putting 2 trucks in there, parked there, that it looks like disabled. Why isn't the dumpster leased in a driveway that's a 3-car garage? Why can't that be in the driveway where someone on Pine Avenue on the 400 block had the dumpster in the middle of the front lawn?
I agree with you, but there was a lot of discussion that night, because if I had, let's say I had a 2-car garage, by placing the dumpster, this is the argument, because everything is a balance, and the argument was, well, if you make them put the dumpster in the driveway, and they have a 2-car garage, then you're gonna end up with those cars out in the street. But if you had the dumpster on the street, then they had the driveway. I don't have an answer for it.
was just getting to the point of that it's getting to be also a hazard as a backing out of driveway.
I agree.
It sounds like laws and license should revisit that.
I was just gonna say that, I think we revisit that.
And another thing with the DPW, I'd like to see that if this goes through, I want to see the superintendent from Fanwood plowing snow, like we had the superintendent this year plowing our streets with the pickup truck.
Anyone else?
Joe Sarno, 658 Willow Avenue, first floor. When I look back and I see small town, big heart. The heart and soul of this town is DPW. They've constantly done a great job. Everyone I've talked to raves about them, the job they do with the snow. When people do visit, they say South Avenue is the best part. Why? Right through Garwood. I would urge the council to reconsider this deal. As much as shared services is a good idea when it comes to budgeting, I don't think that this deal with them, how far away it is the best interest of this town at this moment. So I would urge, again, for everyone to reconsider this deal.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
I just wanted to have more info about the emergency.
Name and address.
Claudia Barrios, 400 block of Willow.
400 block.
What number, Claudia?
427. I just wanted to find out more about the emergency plan. You said a couple weeks.
Yes, we just, a couple of months back, we hired an OEM coordinator, brought on board. His task was to put a new plan in place. He's about, he's about an 80% complete, and he's, last time I spoke with him, he was getting the last signatures that are required on the report and updating it. So I'm saying it's maybe a couple weeks away.
Okay,
It's a lot of detailed report.
Now, we're gonna have access to all the information?
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
I just, I had a scare some weeks ago when the power went out. I live in the attic apartments with animals, with my pets, my cats, and it gets very hot up there. So I panicked, I didn't know what I would do, if it would be for a long period of time. And I found out I can come here with my pets if I had to. Also, the library, I'm able to go there to the library. We need to know where we can go if there's an emergency. Because some of us, I don't think anyone has generators really except here, right? There's a generator here at the police station. How about the firehouse also has a generator?
There's a
Okay.
number of generators, yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the top of my list, there's a thunderstorm, a snowstorm, power outage. With the heat, it's very dangerous. So I know we have these 2 locations, 3 locations. Anywhere else?
I think they're the most convenient ones that we have.
Yeah, well, we have 3 generators, there's one here, there's one at the firehouse, and there's one down at the DPW.
Oh, DPW too, we
Yeah,
could,
but when you would be coming here, I would think that you would
Yeah.
want to go down there. and present an emergency.
how about the school, like the gymnasium, the classrooms?
I think it depends on the situation at the time. I think
Okay.
when we spoke, I told you at the time, you register for First Alert and Nixle. I suggested to do
I
that.
think you mentioned something about documents, but I don't know where to look for the documents.
No, what I suggested was to register for First Alert and Nixle, and whenever there's an emergency, you would get that information on your cell phone or your email. Of course, if you have no power, you wouldn't get an email.
Right.
But if you can't get any of that information, you contact the police station and they would tell you with each different emergency what
I
you could do.
understand that, but for my peace of mind, I need to know already in my head where I could go in case I don't even have a cell phone. So,
That's not gonna change, excuse me, that's not gonna change in the new plan, right? Where we're shooting out. That's basically your question, right?
excuse me?
Basically, that's your question, whether that's gonna change it.
I would start with coming here.
Okay, so
Chief,
how
can you
about,
advise us on this topic, please?
As far as evacuation goes, any long-term evacuation when a power outage occurs would be to a county facility outside of Garwood. You can come here short-term,
right,
cool down, recharge, anything you need to recharge, refresh yourself in any way. Some of the other facilities that have, excuse me, generators as well. But any long-term evacuation, housing, and so forth, would be to a county facility.
right.
I don't know if they take animals. Like that, I don't know.
Okay, how about the first aid squad? Is that space also available or
There is no generator available
no
in the first aid
generator?
squad.
Okay. So this would be the main place in the firehouse for all, the whole town? Okay.
Whoever's it needs to.
Or needs it, okay. So I guess a couple weeks you'll have more information?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bye-bye. Anyone else?
I have no need to get up and speak, you were just looking for the comp for the two townhouses. So basically, the one that just closed at $597 originally sold for $635. Last one that just closed at $575, sold for $620. So we have a decrease.
Sure, given the time period and the years in which they were purchased, absolutely.
Correct.
Right.
Next.
You and I both know that.
We were just asking for the amount.
Right. Thank you.
Good evening. I was informed verbally on May 26th that my position is likely to be eliminated July 1st due to a shared service agreement with Garwood and family. My job of 10 years would be eliminated with 36 days' notice. I left my job of 21 years at the township of Parsippany to join this workforce in Garwood. I've been a hard-working and loyal employee who planned on retiring from this town. Work 40 hours a week and I'm busy every single minute of every day. I'm taking calls that come into the office and responding immediately to any complaints. I issue all road opening permits, which include inspections and follow-ups. I issue and inspect all sidewalk and curb permits as well. I inspect trees, potholes, street signs, you name it, I probably inspect it. My cell phone rings 24/7. I always answer, and I always assist the police or whomever it is on the other end. Sometimes it's a sore backup that needs immediate action, or an icing condition in the winter, or a down tree. I never know what to expect. I respond to every snowstorm. I plow the streets alongside my men of my department. I've stayed for untold hours at a time with no additional monetary compensation. Paying a family $40,000 a year for their superintendent to work in Garwood for 10 hours a week is cutting taxpayer services, in my opinion. This is voted on tonight, and I am terminated, and I must add that 36 days' notice was unfair and unjust. I ask that you consider compensating me for a period of 3 months to give me adequate time to find other employment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Corbett, could you please email that to the Borough Clerk?
So I can put it in the minutes, Greg, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue. I'll talk about the DPW and the shared services in the agenda meeting, only because that's when the resolution is up for vote. I have some other questions about. You're talking about matching grant here, and I know that's an issue of mine, that I've been talking about matching. How do they know that you're matching the grant? How does the county know that you're matching the grant? Something, go ahead.
They don't give you the money up front. You have to draw the money down after you spend it. You have to prove that you spent X amount of dollars of their money and X amount of dollars of your money. So I have to submit paperwork to support that. If it's a $30,000 match, and I spent 60, and that I spent it in accordance with the grant guidelines. I've never not received the
Are you suggesting we don't match the money, we just take the money and we don't pay? Come on.
Well, you've heard me say that a couple times.
They won't pay.
Next question.
It's a reimbursement.
They won't
wouldn't
pay
do
you
that.
if you don't do it right.
Come on.
They will deny your drawdown.
It's a reimbursement, you give the money out first.
DOT has been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, I
Thank
do.
you.
You know me in the county. It's tough. But I mean, infrastructure grants, I'm not gonna deny, that'd be good that they're matching, because basically every town is spending a lot of money on infrastructure grants. So I mean, if it has to be matched, it has to be matched. But then it comes down to the grant, the Open Space Trust Fund grant, where I guess three council people said, yeah, maybe we should pass on that because we have to raise taxes. Well, see, the issue here is raising taxes to get our own money back. So I think if anything, you should generate some kind of resolution, and maybe I did suggest this before, but just stop telling us we have to match grants. Infrastructure, sure, we're spending money no matter what, so really don't have to match the money. I mean, we're spending it. So, but I mean, the Open Space Trust Fund, that's being forced upon us where we have to raise taxes. Put a resolution together, send it to the other towns. I think it's a viable resolution that other towns should agree with, and go out and advocate to the other mayors and councils.
Well, no, let's address that. And as a member of the budget committee, I don't recall any of our deliberations actually causing us to raise taxes to match a grant. Oh, yeah? Okay.
In the past, the bond for the recreation complex, the reason why this, well, to answer Councilman Martin's question, I think what he's getting to here, specifically when it comes to the open space money, because we were doing the recreation complex and there was a bond out for that, matching that recreation money at that time was really not going to be an issue for us. But now that we're in a position where that project's done, and if we want recreation trust fund money, we have to match it, it would have to be raised in the budget, unless we were to do another bond for another project or something like that. And that's why I think it's really sad that we basically don't want to apply for a grant, because we know in order to get 10,000 or 20,000 or however much money out of the county next year, that the 2016 budget would have to go up that amount. But I do want to let you know that I've been working with other counties to find out how they handle open space, and basically many of them are matching. Monmouth is matching as a requirement, Morris County, same thing. Essex County is similar, it says you must provide a match from non-county money. So it could be Green Acres, but mainly it's municipal bonding. However, Atlantic County and Passaic County are interesting because they don't mandate a match, but they say they strongly, let me basically just say the municipality has a better chance at getting that grant money if they're willing to match it. So it's something that I kind of want to keep doing a little more research on, just so that if we were to send that resolution, we could actually give them a suggestion, like, please make it a suggestion or a consideration rather than a strict requirement. So, anyway, just want to share that I have some information on that.
Thank you very much for just keeping it in the forefront, and considering that. I appreciate it. It's about time all the towns actually should start becoming a coalition, I guess, and demanding their money back without having to jump through hoops. So, all right, just another issue. Councilman Nearstead mentioned about $5,000. This is for the Nearstead spruce because they damaged it. And they're
Want to call it that, sure.
Well, we've been calling it Nearstead spruce since
Well,
2002?
second grade, it's the second graders from Lincoln, fourth graders from Lincoln School, yes.
Anyway, but we're getting $5,000.
Yeah, they were required by the planning board to retain that tree, they did not. So what we've done is received a quote from Halka Nurseries down South Jersey as to what that tree would have cost to purchase new. We agreed, you saw my letter to the editor a few weeks back, it made sense to spend $5,000 to get one tree, or spend $5,000 to get many street trees. Although no one responded, I think it just makes more sense to buy the street tree. So they've agreed, they're on board, we have to make arrangements as to when and what type, but, you know, there will be, you know, at least 25, probably 30 new trees coming out of that damage they caused.
Because I went out and I volunteered around in different towns, you know, raise some money for it, and do that. Well, I'm happy to see that we're getting a return of $5,000 or whatever it costs.
I didn't let it go.
Good, okay. And another thing, speaking of trees, and I know, you know, we have to do a lot of tree work coming up. A good 10, 12 years ago, I mean, I suggested a thing called a tree bank, where people take down trees, would then owe a tree into the tree bank, and you could draw upon it over a certain amount of time. Maybe nobody remembers that, but I did float that idea. Morano and his application, he owes us 2 trees. Keep that in mind. There's 2 trees that are all set with every other tree.
And he did mention your name,
I know he did.
Yeah, you weren't at the meeting, but we have 2 trees coming from Morano.
Thank you.
Just another question for, I guess.
Is it a short one, sir?
Short one, sure. Jetting out underground storm sewers and parking lots. And maybe Don could explain this. I guess in the catch basin before it goes out to the street, into the main sewer, you know, there must be some kind of filter or something to catch whatever's being jetted in the parking lot.
Well, it should be. In the sewer line itself, when you jet, you collect the debris, you remove it from wherever you're jetting from.
Yeah, you're not just blowing it out.
No, you're not blowing it back and down to the next sewer though.
All right. And like I said, I'll talk about that. You know, it's an unfortunate issue that we have to address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sorry, guys, my name's pretty long. South Bureau, 55 4th Avenue. Good evening, everyone. So it looks like we dug ourselves into a little bit of a hole here. We're millions of dollars in debt, our taxes keep going up, so what's our solution? First, we went after the police contracts. Now we're going after DPW. So,
Please?
last year, we were told that, and we hear cheers up here, that the athletic field was under budget, and we were gonna save money, and it was only gonna cost $2,000 to $3,000 a year to maintain. Well, this year it's $32,000. We were told St. Anne's, the parking was adequate. So what happened? Parking's not adequate. We're now, well, there's a parking commission, so there must be an issue there. 70,
I don't know that these
They're not
things are
related.
true, but
may I finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. So my question is, why should we trust you when you give us all this pie in the sky stuff about Fanwood and reporting to Fanwood? Mr. Nierstead, you're absolutely correct. We have a wonderful town here, so let's not mess with it. What makes our town wonderful are those men that sit in this wall there. We do not need, as you said earlier, Mr. Nierstead, we do not need new trees in this town that are gonna cause another $100,000 worth of damage. We need Fred Corbett and his men. Please do not mess with our DPW, leave that one alone. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
So,
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Return at 8:10, please. So continue our meeting. Thank you.